Leominster. My name is Dean Mesereau, Mayor, and they put microphones on everybody except for me. So anyway, Alan Redstone just made it. So his new nickname's going to be Alan, you just made it, Redstone. Right, Alan? Anyway, you're watching Inside Leominster. My name is Dean Mesereau, the Mayor for the city, and happy to have you tonight. We have a special show for you tonight. Our guests were on, I think, last year. Is that right, or was it longer?
It was April. No, you were right. Yeah.
It could be 2 weeks, 2 months.
That's okay. We were here last year.
And so we're going to, this is always a good show. Lots of information, and you're going to have a good time too, right?
Yes. Always with you, Mayor Maz.
Let's go. First, we do our special art report. We're going to head out right now to the foggy skies just over the hills of the Manusnaw Country Club, and we should find art for the art report.
I could probably reach it with 2 shots.
You think so?
Yeah. What do you think?
Nobody out there at Manusnaw yesterday.
The garden is closed tomorrow because we're getting another 1 to 2 inches tonight.
Hardly wait.
Oh, I know, huh?
You go down the ground, dig a foot, you get all the water you want.
It's crazy.
It is.
But I'd be amiss. I got hats off to went and paid my taxes today, and it's late this afternoon. And you'd think that the gals in the office and the guy, whatever, would be kind of tired of dealing with the public all day, but I got nothing but smiles when I walked in.
People are nice. Right?
I think that's wonderful.
Well, I'm glad you had a good experience. It was funny today because you could come in and pay your taxes and vote.
You know, I noticed that on the way out the door, early voting. Very important. I think it's a wonderful thing.
You didn't early vote?
Take advantage of that.
You didn't early vote?
No, we're going to go the regular time.
You're a traditionalist.
You know, that's true. We really are. We just want to do it when it says to do it, and don't change the rules in midstream on it.
Yeah.
Right, so we won't know what time to get up in the morning.
Just let people know, tonight was the last night you could early vote, and that ended at 5:30. And then tomorrow you can early vote, and then that's it. You can't be late for early voting after that, because then you have to wait for Tuesday.
Wow.
So
that's, you know, at least it was an opportunity.
Yeah.
One thing I'd like to say is that even with this terrible weather we've had, the city workers have been able to maintain keeping the job of all the paving and construction that's going on in our fair city. I think it's great.
Doing a great job. That doesn't even take into account the emergencies. They had 2 water breaks this one at Fallbrook Condos, I think, and I forget where the other one was, off of I want to say Grove Ave, and then we had a couple of trees come down, and so that's why I said it's not like a construction company where you can go actually start and finish a project. You start a project, get called off to go take care of an emergency, go back, maybe work a half a day, get called back for another emergency. So they do a great job.
They sure do. And having said that, I see you got a good crowd there tonight. I'm going to get off the phone and wish everybody a good show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's the Art Report. Man's on top of things. All right, Art, be well. Okay, again, name of the show is Inside Leominster. So let's go around. You can either introduce yourselves, and I can maybe butcher your names, or you can introduce yourselves. What would you rather do? And tell us what. Yeah, let's do that. Introduce yourself and tell us a little bit more than what's on here about what you do, right? Because, like, Will does so many different things.
1 or 2.
Right? I mean, you do so many things. But I find even, you know, Dean was on. Were you on last week, was it?
It's all last week or 2 weeks ago?
It could be 2 years ago. And so people really enjoyed to hear your story about how you came. It was a good story. And you never tell it. I'm like, why don't you tell it? And everywhere I went after that, people were like, wow, that was a really good story. I'm like, yeah, I love a good story. So maybe we'll start with Kenesha.
Okay, you didn't butcher my name though. High five, Mayor Mass.
Well, I know, but if you had a couple other names in the middle there,
Well, yeah, you know.
it gets not difficult. You know what I mean? People are just beginning to be able to spell my name.
Oh, understood. Understand.
But tell us a little bit about yourself. We have the time tonight. You got the whole show.
Wow, feels so luxurious. So my name is Kenesha Coy. I am the executive director of My Care Initiative, which is Community Arts Research and Education and a Breakthrough Silence project.
And tell us what that means. Everybody's going to have a title.
Okay.
You know it really well, but so what does that mean?
I'm going there. So it means connecting art with social and humanities projects, and with Breakthrough Silence, it's connecting art with healing from abuse trauma.
Uh-huh. And we have a program that the veterans do, and they learn to fly fish and to make their flies. And it's almost like, what was that, sort of the coloring thing that we had, that
Okay.
trend, right? When people sit and sort of adult coloring and all of that.
Coloring
It's
books, yeah.
soothing, it's calming, does something to you, right?
It
That's
is.
why we doodle,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Somebody's going to give me the psychological, is this from the gutter?
Moosnock.
No, it's not. Carl, you're not feeling well? You got a cold?
Allergies.
LEG. Well, thanks, because I'm on my way with one. But so that helps with healing, and
Yes.
and it's sort of like when we get nervous, we do things with our hands, or right, we do things, and it's so.
Right, so
It's-
I feel
it's
that
therapeutic.
art, exactly. I see that art is therapy, and it has so many therapeutic properties. And when I was on the cultural council, there were things that I wanted to do that it wouldn't align with their mission. So I decided to do something on my own. So 3 years now is My Care Initiatives. We've been doing this for 3 years, and recently we got status to approve a national day. Woohoo! National Go Day, and that'll be on calendars as of next
Better
year.
not interfere with like National Frosted Flake Day or
Or
something.
even cannoli day.
Cannoli day.
I know.
Every day I look and there's like 12, 15 things. I'm like, it's like,
No.
which one should I celebrate, right?
I have been educated, so no, it will be the first Sunday of a full weekend in October. So.
That's good. Nice. Tell us why everyone's here tonight, because that would really, I think, help for people to understand. Because
Okay.
when we met last year, I realized what an incredible resource this is to have so many people who could help. And we really hope to, I guess, educate people, to let them know this exists, but sort of push it out, maybe get it into the schools. I know that's one area we talked about getting
Right.
more involved in the schools. Seems to be the place that, you know, every teacher has a lesson plan and needs to get that through, and they keep interrupting them during the day, but, you know, but still, it sort of explain
Sure.
what this group is made up of.
I mean,
and
much
for.
like your socks, it's funky, but it has a cause, right?
Funky,
So
that's
it-
Minnesota.
Okay, well, it's blue, and I'm digging it.
Minnesota's everything but funky.
Okay,
I can just tell you that.
so I'm gonna dial that
All
back.
I can tell you. Nice people, but not in the funk. That's all I can tell you.
So I believe that everything we do should have a purpose, should have a cause, and I believe that art has many properties to it. In as it's art aesthetic, it's beautiful, but it's also has educational components to it, and education is key. But education doesn't have to look only one way. And if you look at this amazing panel, we all look different, but we all are contributing in some way to the education and awareness of our communities.
Right.
So that's the broad spectrum of why everybody is here.
I was in the clerk's office today, and I looked around. There were 5, 6 ladies there. Every single one had different ethnic descent.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you've all worked here for a while. I never noticed. It's true. In our community, we're really lucky because that never even ever becomes an issue.
I agree. And I appreciate that you actually see that as a benefit, because it's not necessarily like that everywhere. So
I think, I mean, obviously in manufacturing, when these communities were big in paper or plastics or manufacturing, dresses, toys, everything we made, piano cases, immigrants usually will, I mean, that's a good way to get started off, right? I mean, is to assimilate is you, oftentimes there's a language barrier. Where do you start? You start in manufacturing, you work your way up. So I think here there's this, you paid your dues thing, or maybe if you didn't, your parents did or whatever, but it's like, okay, it's just another ethnic group that's come here. They're going to work real hard, right? Dean knows all about that. They're going to work real hard, and there's an appreciation for that. And that's my theory on why race or diversity or religious beliefs are never an issue here. Never grew up with it, ever. I talked to my friends the other day. We're thinking, I'm like, no, it was never an issue. Never. No, elementary school, kindergarten, elementary school, junior, never. That's pretty good, I think.
I think that that's
a
amazing
community.
for you to have that. Yeah, I definitely think that.
Yeah, to me, I think it's a big deal. It's like, hey, all right, Dean Tran's here. Senator Dean Tran.
First of all, diversity is incredible. It's great for the community, it's great for the Commonwealth, and it's great for the economy,
Right.
as you mentioned. Before I proceed, I just want
And I
to...
love their foods and their
Absolutely.
traditions, right?
Right.
Their religious beliefs. I love it.
Right.
Love it.
I just want to piggyback on what Kanisha has said, and just want to praise the work that she's done in the art community. I know this because she's done an incredible job in the city of Fitchburg, and both of us reside in the city of Fitchburg, so I know her very well. I know the work that she's been doing, and I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Most people know that I'm the state senator for this district. Been working very hard, and I'm a true believer in art. I believe art promotes individualism, and we're all different. No two people are alike. No two person are alike, right? Not even twins are alike. And part of that is education. We have to educate people to accept everyone
Yes.
because everyone is an individual, and that's what art promotes. And not a lot of people know that when I was in 4th grade, I'm very artistic, by the way.
Come
And
on.
When I was in 4th grade,
You're just telling us now?
I won a statewide scholarship to attend the art school in Clinton, Massachusetts.
Come on, that's pretty cool.
It's
Very
pretty
cool.
cool. It's it's
You didn't bring your artwork with you? I don't see any ads or anything. If I could do anything related to any art, everyone would know about it.
Next show. Next show.
I tell the kids at the high school, if I was taking advanced calculus, everybody would know. There'd be shirts, billboards, everywhere you go, you'd be reminded that I took advanced calculus.
Wow.
I
And-
didn't, but I'm just saying, people would know.
And all the people who are involved in art, they would agree that it's a gift that you have, and you never forget it. Even if you haven't practiced it for many years, decades, you still have that gift. You pick up a pen, or you pick up a pencil, marker, or a crayon. You just it gets to you. You know right away on how to do it.
Yeah,
And,
well, I gotta tell you, I had Will on here one time, and we did stained glass, and he said, quote unquote, you're a natural. I think I think I might have held something in place while I did all the work. But
One of the things that we need to understand too is that art brings people together. It does not discriminate, and that's what's great about art.
go ahead.
Hi, I'm Amy Spicer. I'm on the board for My Care Initiative, and I'm an abuse survivor, and I use art in my life to get back to my body. I'm a performance artist. I do paintings, and I write poetry, and those have been instrumental in my healing. And I wouldn't have been able to be better at myself without it.
I find I don't have any artistic ability. I'm sorry, but in order to have art, you have to have people that appreciate it.
I disagree.
I was going to too. Thank you for
I
that.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying.
Exactly,
So that's my part in art is maybe you don't do it for that reason.
But you're the appreciator.
I'm the appreciator.
Right.
That's its own art.
Yes.
That's okay.
I'm good at it. 'cause
And it's
I'm
a part of the relationship. You need appreciation in order, not in order to create art, but it does help to have some people appreciate what that art is. And one thing that My Care Initiative is about is expanding the understanding of what art actually is. You are Mayor Matz. You've been in this position for a while.
Right.
That is not an easy task. So you clearly have an artistry within what you're doing.
Yeah, they have a special name for that.
Well, Psycho
have
is there
artists,
too,
yeah.
but the care that's there, and I applaud all of you who are in the specific field to be able to be in politics, because I don't know how you do it. I would just like, okay, please leave me alone. And you don't really have that ability, or you might do it in a pretty way, but I think there's an artistry within that of being able to serve in the capacity that you are serving. So that is an artistry too. So.
But I love art. I love all kinds of. I like to look. It always amazes me. I appreciate it so much.
Yeah.
So you're right. That's my
That's
artistic.
your art. Absolutely.
All right, who's next? You were on last time.
I was. It's good
Yeah.
to see you again,
Thank
Mayor
you.
Mazzarella.
Thanks for coming on.
My
I wasn't
name
sure
is-
you'd come on after the last time.
Oh no, absolutely, absolutely. Wouldn't miss it. And when Kanisha Coy makes the call,
Oh, boy.
you take that call. Absolutely, every time.
That's true.
So my name is Robert Hines. I'm an assistant dean for student support services over at Fitchburg State. I get jealous hanging out with you all. I wish I were an artist. I don't think my talents lie there, but I would love, Kenesha, for you to spin it a little bit to somehow make me into an artist.
I got you, Dr. Rowe.
I think Kenesha and my relationship is more about her respect for education. And so I like to think I'm an educator. One of the responsibilities that I have over at Fitchburg State is to co-coordinate our FAVE initiative. That's Fitchburg Anti-Violence Education. And so we have various mandates where we need to educate our incoming and our existing students on issues of domestic violence, issues of sexual assault and sexual violence. And so over the past few years, we've done some, I think, interesting initiatives. Maybe even they're artistic.
Yeah,
Maybe.
you've had some artistic.
I had some film and video students out there doing some stuff. Does that count?
Of course.
Okay, cool. So we've done some stuff like that, and so I always appreciate the opportunity when Kenesha picks up the phone to come out and brag on a little bit of what we're doing over at the university, more from an educational perspective, I guess, than an artistic.
necessary.
But
So
thank you as always. Thank you.
Thank you for coming. I don't know whether society's more violent today or we just know more about it because there's this news from everywhere, right? I get on my phone at night and I listen to the news in any little town in America. And obviously, you know it's on the news, right? It's usually the same stuff, right? Who got shot in the morning, who this. So, but what I do know is it's learned, right?
Yeah.
So we know there's an educational piece here that ties in with violence, right? Or I mean, sometimes it's violent behavior. It's an illness for somebody. So I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying we learn this whether it's at home, right, in a neighborhood or whatever. So that's where the positive reinforcements need to come in a community, right? We're urban communities, much as people might not think we are. We are. Leominster, Fitchburg, Gardner areas to some extent are urban communities. We have urban issues, but in a lot of cases, violence is learned. So if you can teach it, then you can teach it the other way, right? And that's what you're all
Right.
trying to do, right?
Be
Right,
unlearned
that's
as
what
well.
you're
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
So my name is Rodrigo Guerrero. I work for the Massachusetts Cultural Council. I work amongst all of the things that the Mass Cultural Council does in dispersing funds from the state legislature for arts,
We
sciences,
appreciate
and
it.
humanities. Oh, we appreciate it even more. I supervise the programs in the area that we call creative youth development. Creative youth development is the use of arts, sciences, and humanities with positive youth development goals. This is the idea that engagements in high intensity, looking for great deals of mastery and development of mastery and relationship with artists and adults. Young people can learn to achieve and learn to be in a positive environment in which they are able to thrive and become more active members of the community in the same way.
Right. And it teaches people to sort of interact, build relationships,
Certainly.
get passionate about something. Look at former President Bush. He's like so excited. When he does an interview, he paints.
Yeah.
And I'm looking, I'm like, the guy paints? Like, never heard about that. He was president for 8 years. I'm like, never heard about it. But you can see, for him, and he interacts with, in a different level now, he interacts with all kinds of other artists and they exchange ideas. So to that extent, it does, I think people look at art as, it's a picture, it's something that somebody did. They don't realize all the other good that it does,
Right.
or all the other pieces of that. And that, I think, is the neat part about art, right? It really does,
You're here.
bring us together.
It's precisely that opportunity that a young person can have of coming into contact with a professional artist, developing mastery, and in that mastery, they are creating a relationship with peers. They are being valued by the community, not being seen as something that needs to be fixed, but as an asset to the community that is providing to the people around them. And that, of course, instills in everyone a sense of what is it that can be expected of that young
Right.
person as they grow up.
I don't know if you know Diane Suskind, who taught at Fitchburg State for a long time, and she does that. Is it stone? Let me make sure. Oh boy, I'm in big trouble if I don't get this right. Hang on. It's called, because November 3rd is National Stonework Play Day. So that's, when you stack up all the stones and everything, that's art. Now, that takes patience. Even me, I'm over there like taking this tiny rock, the whole thing's stacked up, I'm trying, right? But that's a form of art. And you know, she's an artist, and she's gone all over the world with this. Yeah, you know her, right? Do you know Diane?
Oh, I
Sister?
only met her a couple times.
Yeah, she does
So,
incredible. She goes all over the world, and she takes rocks and they sit there and build them, and everywhere. It's the peacemaker.
And it's
that
amazing.
and cannolis. I realize that and rainbows. Did you see how excited everybody got when we had the double rainbow
Oh, yeah,
last week?
that was beautiful.
Everybody was like excited. I'm like, I figured it out after 61 years. Cannolis, a double rainbow, and some stone. Right?
Now, if you make double
Everybody-
stone out of cannoli and make them double rainbow, you
Let's
got
add
it.
crayons in there, because crayons are another sort of peacemaker. We could solve all the problems in the world.
Let's get
It's like,
inside.
okay, let's quit arguing. Get some stones. We're gonna dump a pile of stones here, and we'll talk through it.
Get happy.
Right? And when we're done, we'll have a cannoli.
Done.
I am Bethany Green. I work with the YWCA Central Massachusetts. I specifically work in domestic violence services. So we offer a wide variety of services depending on where the victim or survivor is in their journey. So,
They do great work.
yes.
Does Linda still work there?
Of course.
I haven't seen her.
course.
You know
Yes.
she grew up right down the street
Yeah.
from me, right?
Yep.
She never tells anybody.
She's amazing.
I want her to tell everybody, like, I'm a homie. I grew up in Leominster on 6th Street, on Middle Street. I want to tell her.
She's amazing.
I want that part of her bio, tell her.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's done, I don't know how many years she's been there, but it's a great organization doing good
Yeah.
things.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know how long. I tease her like that she started when I was like first born. So, yeah, it's
Yeah,
been a
no,
long time.
good.
She's
Good,
amazing.
good. Will?
So my name is Will Darkangelo. I'm the minister at First Parish Unitarian Universalist Church in Fitchburg. I spent many years as a performing arts professional doing theatrical production, venue management, acting, singing, dancing when forced. And I've also been a stained glass artist for the past 20 years. And
Are you still doing it?
I still do.
Yeah,
In fact, I
that's
was
it.
doing it this afternoon.
Yeah.
And for the past 8 years, I've been running an after-school music and arts empowerment program that was intended primarily for teens like 13 to 18, but over the years it just became this.
Anybody that wants to come
It's
and sing.
all ages.
But
right?
you've had great success with that.
Well, I mean, success is a bit of a. It's hard to know what I like to think so, but it's.
Does it make them happy?
That's kind of
That's
it's
a
a
success.
difficult thing to measure and to quantify.
Yes.
But today I was doing stained glass with my tribe kids, and ultimately that tribe program seeks to cultivate empowerment through creative achievement, and I firmly believe that everybody has some creativity built into them, or could at least participate in a wider creative process that includes lots of people. I mean, you may only be like when you and I were doing stained glass together. You were very good at one of the steps in the process,
Right.
and not everybody is successful at all things.
Well, in
Right.
theater.
Yep. I
Not
mean,
everybody's on the stage. You need
Right.
people to do makeup, and you need people. Right? There's a million different categories. They're all artists as
Satisfaction
well.
and fulfillment can come from being any part of that process. The goal is to find out what makes an individual person the most successful with what they have in their own toolbox. So I really believe that art
So
is
you just try to add more tools to the toolbox.
Exactly. Or even just highlight and empower them over the ones they already have and don't realize that they're as valuable as they are, that they
Right.
could achieve a sense of fulfillment and success just by being good at something that they already are leaning towards and didn't realize how to value.
And they need the encouragement.
Yes.
Like, that's really
and
good.
Art is a very democratizing experience for everybody. As long as you can make people feel included in that process, no matter where they feel on the creative spectrum.
So I guess it's me. So
Now, talk about style. Look at you. Right? That's
guess.
art, right?
all of a sudden. But my name is
What do
Chantel.
you mean all of a sudden? You didn't
Yeah,
always have that
yeah,
ability?
no, I really didn't.
I can't even. My two socks don't have the same thing on them. I can't even put them together. In tough
After
shape.
children, I got style. But my name is Chantel Bethia. I'm the CEO and president of Women in Action Incorporated out of Worcester, but I service Massachusetts. And I'm very happy that you went before me because I'm not the artsy person whatsoever.
That's you
I
and
look
I,
at
you and
stuff.
I.
I look at stuff like, oh, that's cute, but I don't really do anything. I do the groundwork with different women to get them to see and understand who they are again. Because after we have children, get married, whoever, we lose ourselves. So I'm about self-care. So I do that part, and then I push them to different avenues for their goals and their aspirations.
And think about it. Childbirth,
Listen,
Bring the kids
that's an
up.
art.
Everything, the whole thing. I mean, the whole
Creation
art.
right there.
the whole piece, right? I mean, the
Yes.
whole, right, 20 years or whatever it is, you never know how to parent.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden, everybody's off, they get busy, and then you have to sit back and say, so now what?
Exactly.
Right? Now I have to go out, as they say, reinvent myself. But first I gotta find out who you are, because you're
Yes.
so busy taking care. Like, when you have all little kids around, who's the last person to eat?
Well, it's always the mom, which
And
is sad.
most
but
of the time, they don't even get a chance to eat, right?
And
That's
or we're eating while giving a bath or doing something else. Yes, we do that.
Right, right. And so that says something. So that's just a small piece of being a mom.
Yes.
And then at the end, you're like, okay, so there are things I always wanted to do, right? You know, they stop forming that list of things, and that's what you help them with.
Yes, but I'm trying to get them to do it before the kids move out, so
Right.
that their children see and understand that they don't have to do the same process that their parents did.
Listen,
so
kid, pick up
important.
your own towel,
So
right?
Yeah. So
Pick
try
up your
to
own
catch them
towel,
now.
kid. Make your own
Exactly.
toast.
Yeah.
Understand your self-worth now, other
Right.
than trying to figure it out when you're my age.
Yes.
So.
Hey, that's
But
good.
it's never too late.
Right.
It's never too late, but I so want to start getting the children. Like, my daughter comes with me everywhere. She's usually the photography person, but she comes so that she understands what her value is.
So
and
you're
she gets-
exposing her.
Yes.
And
To
that
the
is
real
so
world.
important. And
To the
that's
world
what-
you want her to
That's so important.
be associated with, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I was just going to say that's so important, and that's one of the main reasons why we're all here is because we see that, and what you're doing too. It's we want to be able to help youth. Also, though, we're trying to help families, trying to help adults. It's chewing gum and walking at the same time. We can't just focus on one area. We've got to focus on the whole community, because you can't ignore one and uplift the other. It's going to be unbalanced.
Is too much emphasis placed on, we were just saying, success?
Yes.
Success defined in America
Yes.
is a sporty car, clothes that I wouldn't be able to tell you whether you got your clothes at TJ Maxx or
It's the
honestly.
definition of success that needs
Exactly.
Yes.
Yes.
Because at some time in my life, I'm like, you know what? That guy or lady that worked 8 hours a day and came home, their family, to church, whatever it might have been, they took their 2 weeks. I used to think that was like, why would you want to be that? And now I think of it as obey the laws, pay your bills. Maybe you don't live in a fancy house. Maybe you live in the 3rd floor of an apartment house somewhere. But that's, to me now, that is defined as success.
The tragedy,
and they're happy.
The tragedy, though, is that people are so quick to believe their failures
Yes.
and so
Yep.
slow to believe that they could be a success.
Yes.
When really you're still alive. You can't have failed at everything.
Right.
Exactly.
You know, if you're still motivated to move in the world, then there's a success represented in that far more than a failure.
So we've put too much emphasis on
Yeah.
defining the success as something that has to do with money,
Right.
rather
Yeah,
than
yeah.
Right.
how about being happy, right? And what's really interesting is as the unemployment rate goes down, there's more and more people, and the economy gets better, costs go up, and so they're finding a lot more elderly people are working. So at first there was a couple articles that talked about, well, you know, the costs are so high to do everything today, food and everything. They have to go out and work, and they have to work longer. But then they found this like subgroup, and they were working, but they were people who their whole life did something, because maybe their mother and father said, you should be a teacher, you get summers off, or whatever, you know, be a cop. I was a cop. You do this, you make a lot of money. And then a lot of people did all those things, went through a whole career doing them, but did them well. But that's not what they really wanted to do. So they found this whole segment of people who were retired in 70s and 80s, and they were all going out and getting another job. It's the job they always wanted.
That's great.
So they talked to this guy. He's like, "Yeah, sold my house. I'm living. I don't even have a car anymore, but I'm living in this unit. I don't remember if it was an apartment or a small house. It's near public transportation. And every day I go into the city, I'm a puppeteer. I always wanted to be a puppeteer.
That's
but
great.
I had kids. I had to make money. Somebody told me this is the best job you could get, and they just found these people doing all kinds of things because they were kind of tricked into what is successful themselves, right? I mean, not just going to make $1 million being a puppeteer, but there are a lot of things. There are a lot of other ways to define success.
And that's
besides all
hugely
that.
important, because just going back to what you said originally, success, I personally don't think is something that's a negative. We should all hopefully have goals, things that we're
Sure,
aspiring to.
of course.
But latching on to what somebody's telling you is success is the detriment.
Exactly.
And
That's
killing
it.
the
That's
spirit,
what I'm
the
trying to
body
say
spirit.
right there.
Yeah, and
It's a detriment.
and I saw everybody nodding, so I think we're all
Especially
in
if you're
agreement with
practicing that so-called
Right.
success for your whole life,
Right.
and then all of a sudden you realize later it's like,
The
whoa.
problem ultimately becomes when we're judging our insides based on other people's outsides.
Right.
You know, we invariably define our success based on what we're imagining their level of
The
success.
mirror, they call that,
or
sociologically, they call it the mirror image. We act the way
Yeah,
people
that
treat
social
us.
media
Right?
where everything
We
looks
act
good.
the
Which
way
amplifies it.
they treat us. So, you know, people look at you, oh, you're a dog. Oh, wow, you guys are a dog. You must be a good guy. You must be smart. You must be successful.
You must be
And-
happy.
and, you know, my doctor, he bailed. He just said, you know what, I just, this is not exactly the part of medicine I wanted to do. I've lost that, you know, touch with people because of, you know, all the paperwork and everything, you know. And so now he's, you know, he's doing something that he always wanted to do. So that's important. I think that's, you know, and the other thing is, every kid I see, if I go to the high school, I'm like, okay, what's your passion? Most of the time, you know what the answer is? I don't know.
Yeah.
But I force them to think about it. And sometimes it's dance or art comes up a lot. Art is probably the number one thing that comes up. Isn't that amazing? Like, what's your passion? Like, if you could get paid every Thursday like I do and do something you absolutely love to do and you feel bad a little bit because you got a check for doing something, you got paid to do something you absolutely love, what would it be? And then all of a sudden, they're just like, oh, I'd love to do this. Or I said, look, even if it's fishing. One kid said hockey, you know, somebody said fishing, and it went on and on. And I said, that's what gets you excited, right? Your passion.
But we're not spending the time putting enough enough options on people's list.
Right.
You know, sometimes when people have in their own minds, they see the only two objects on their list, or the only two items rather on their list are steal or go hungry. You know, because they haven't been shown that education actually can be on that list, or that the amount of cultural opportunities that they have. You know, with the recession, and I'm finding this to be still true with a lot of kids, that all the after-school stuff and all of these other types of programs just got dropped after the recession and not put back.
Right.
And so now these generations of kids are turning to sex and drugs to an even greater degree than before,
Right.
although teen pregnancy is down, I'm happy about.
That's a good thing.
But there's too few things on their list, and so when we have them at a young age, we not only need to tell them that they can be anything that they want, essentially, and that, you know, you're smart
Yeah,
to be
if you love to do it.
invoking their passion, but also as they get older, their happiness actually matters the most in the fulfillment of their lives and in the fulfillment of the lives of the people around them, because they're just like being on an airplane. You have to put your own air mask on first. And if you're secure in your own satisfaction and empowerment, you have that ability to transmit that to other people.
Absolutely.
And as you
that's
get
why-
older, it has to
Absolutely.
continue.
Go ahead.
Many of these people have been especially the younger people have been disempowered from the beginning because of being in an education system that is largely racist, or you know, there's not a lot of space when you're a child to be empowered and to be given space to understand who you are outside of the curriculum and the structure. And I totally understand that there's a reason for the structure, but I really think that if we could empower children to learn rather than showing them that they have to learn, we would have much happier adults. We would have people going into jobs that they actually care about, that they will make a difference, and there will be this difference. And I think a widespread compassion can come from widespread empowerment.
You talked about my model for schools, which I've been talking about forever. I said, if you can find something that a kid loves to do, why do we have to have all the elementary schools set up the same way?
And by age,
every
it's
one
a
of them.
terrible
Right.
system.
So what if I like, what if I like music, and I'm really like excited about music, and why couldn't I go to like Sterling for music, and the kid from Sterling likes art, so the kid from Sterling, we'll find a way to get kids there, whether it's the bus transportation or whatever, but if somebody's really excited about it, they'll get to school, they won't come, right? But we all have, you know, it's set up as a paradigm, it's set up where the elementary school in Sterling is the same, in West Boylston, in Fitchburg, Leominster, when in reality, when we find kids that really get excited about what they do, especially when they hit the high school or junior high school level, why can't they just go to that school? Why
It
do
sounds
they
like
have-
you're advocating for self-directed educational models.
Yeah,
You know,
well, to some
because
extent.
that's where these kids end up finding out. Like the Sudbury Valley School in Framingham is one of the best examples of self-directed education. Sometimes the kids don't even learn to read until later when it matters to them.
Right, they found
You know?
something they were excited about
Right,
reading.
and they're allowed the freedom to discover that and the platform to discover it, and they end up being smarter, stronger, more successful, and able to transmit happiness to other people and empowerment to other people because they themselves were given the freedom to discover who,
I
you know, what
finally
moves
found
them
something
most.
that I can be passionate about and I'm excited about.
Yes.
And all I want to do is learn more and more and more.
And all the
more
supporting
experiences.
disciplines around that idea.
That's so, and supporting that idea that you are passionate about it, and giving a child the support they need to find what they're good at. Because you can be passionate and you can be talented, but you still need practice.
Of
Right.
course.
No matter who you are.
Everybody.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And that's the beauty of having a practice is that
Yes.
you're engaging in something, you're learning, you make mistakes.
Yes.
You learn from those mistakes.
Take
and
risks,
you,
make
then
mistakes.
success looks different to you.
Yes,
Because
exactly.
you're learning through that process and having that practice, being able to share it with your peers, being able to share it with your community,
Yes.
makes you feel as a different part of the community, makes you feel as a more successful individual in the sense that you've achieved something that you set yourself out to through your practice.
Right.
And I think a lot of what we're talking today is precisely creating spaces for those kind of practices, whether they are through art, sciences, humanities, or any other form of expression that is properly motivated and is properly supported and sustained by the community and by peers so that young people can actually succeed in this direction.
We,
or adults.
we all measure success differently, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And part of empowerment is being able to provide people choices.
Right.
Yes.
And that's
Expose
what it is.
them to as many things as you can. They'll find something they love, right?
When you start mandating schools, you're really restricting the children from learning and providing them choices, and that's what art is, right? When we subject kids to art, we allow them to do whatever they want to do. We allow them to be free and feel free and draw and paint and do what they want to do based on their vision. And
then if you
that's
can
good.
turn that into a business, and you
Absolutely.
can make money for it, it's like being a mayor. Every Thursday they pay me. I'm like, wait a minute, don't let anybody see. This is way too much fun. They're paying me to do this. This is no, but you know what I'm saying? In other words, if you can turn it into something, right? If you continue,
Or the skills.
Before I forget, hold on. Before I forget, I know I'm going to forget, and then I'm going to feel bad. So we were speaking of theater, and there's a young lady from Leominster, and I talked to her mom, you know, every now and then. And I try to get her on the show. I haven't been able to get her on the show. But anyway, she coming up in, anybody that knows me knows my favorite movies, Wizard of Oz. So the play's coming to the Hanover Theater on November 8th to the 11th. And this young lady, I just want to make sure I get the part that she's playing because it's pertinent to the conversation. Here it is. She does one of the jitterbugs. It's Megan Godin. And so she's from Leominster, went to the school system. And her passion was theater. And she's been in, I don't know how many different productions. I'm trying to get her on. I'll eventually get her on, but she's everywhere all the time. Never here, but only here for just the rest. But there's an example of somebody that's made a profession of doing something she knew early on she loved to do. She already knew that. So why not? So well, I call it trick education. If kids will say, I'm gonna open a business, I'm like, okay, but you gotta get good at math, right? They're like, well, I don't really, because I can hire people. I said, I know a lot of people that made a lot of money right? A lot of stars, and they trusted somebody with their money. Guess what?
And money's gone.
Inevitably,
Yeah.
that's their art, right? The art of not trying to make you not know that you don't have any money anymore, right?
Yeah.
But the reality is, once they understand, they find something they love. Now they need to know, and now all of a sudden they start reading because whether it's a magazine or something on their iPad, they start getting excited about it, which gets them excited about reading and learning more, right? It's like trick education.
It is,
Making
but it's
it
also
accessible.
having those spaces that are safe so people can
Right.
say, I want to do this. I grew up, I always loved words. I love writing.
Really?
I love reading.
Yeah?
Yes, yes.
So you're one of these people like see a word, and it's like, hold everything, everybody. We gotta look this baby up. We gotta find out this word, the word of origin. You're one of those.
It gets
I know
scary.
somebody just
but
like that.
I love writing and creating and doing that, and I was told that you'll never ever have a career doing this.
Yeah.
And I would sneak and do it, and now, I mean, several years later, I'm back at school and
Wow.
I'm using narrative
That's
therapy
fun.
to be able to help people, and I'm getting published. So it's just I am a huge advocate of don't tell a child that they can't be successful
Right.
in
Yeah.
this or that or the other. First of all, let's find out why they are interested in this. It just might be that it makes me happy, and let's cultivate that and give them the tools to be able to increase within whatever it is that they're interested in, because it could switch to something else. But
Right, and it
it's
does happen.
Extra tools in their toolbox.
And you find something else that you.
A lot of things, though, that we're facing now are people who may or may not have gotten those empowering messages when they're younger, but then the whole thing becomes derailed by trauma
Right.
and by abuse. And they become wired to disbelieve any possibility of success doing something that they love. And a large part of what art can provide to that endless cycle is to help them learn to express themselves and communicate, to sort of step out of the trauma and separate trauma into an historical fact and an emotional
And
value.
feel good about themselves again.
Well, yes, but in order to feel good about themselves, they have to be able to acknowledge their trauma as that there's two components to that. One is historical fact, and one is the emotional value. And if they can separate those two through, trauma counseling, a narrative therapy, I'm sure that you come across, a lot of things like this, that once they're able to separate those things and then just deal with the emotional value, and oftentimes that kind of opportunity to express themselves comes through various art forms.
Right. And
So do
allowing
you
for
all get
micro-
together as part of a group?
We did tonight.
I know, but so that brings it to, I can't see the clock because it's behind me.
You still
Normally
got
I can
time.
see
Good.
it, plenty of time. So we have about an hour. So I hear voices. So at the end of the day, where does somebody go? I know Boys and Girls Club have been really good. We started with like 7 kids back, I don't know how many years ago. Now the thing's grown and we actually need more room, more space, I think. There are the Spanish American Center. There are different groups in town that have really, I think, been doing what what you're encouraging. Do we need more of it? Where does somebody
definitely
go?
need,
What if a parent's watching or a grandparent that might be bringing up that grandkid and say, you know what, this is what I'm looking for. Where do they go?
Well, you need enhanced volunteerism, because it's not just the kids who need that, or not only do they need it, but there's too few people out there able to provide that type of service. There's a lot of us doing things like grassroots, creating the tribe that I did.
Right.
But there are people out there who are retired who have all these skills that they could be sharing. People who have skills are not being empowered to share those skills out there, and we have a lack of that.
So is that
type
what
of
we need, the Mass
mentorship.
Cultural Commission to help to facilitate, to say, look, we need, commercials on TV or whatever it is, that whatever media people get their information, to say, you know what, you could have a really big impact on some young kid. I mean, that's what Boys and Girls Club does, I mean, for the most part, right? I mean, they find things that kids are interested, everybody's inclusive. I mean, they do a good job of it. But they can't do everything for
I would
everybody.
encourage anyone who's watching, if they want to get involved, to contact a nonprofit or
The United
just
Way.
Right.
Or your
they
local
could do
cultural
that.
council.
Boom, right
For the
there.
Go-
And now's the time, because now's the time to start filling out your application
Oh yeah.
for one of the local cultural commission grants.
The local cultural councils is basically the Mass Cultural Council's largest
Right.
granting program. We have hundreds of cultural councils across the state of Massachusetts, and they're the most direct way in which a community can have volunteers representing that community, financing programs that are directly run or operated or benefit the community.
Right.
And that is just the first step in identifying those kind of programs or where they can go. And I keep saying that one of the perks of being the Mass Cultural Council is that we are not your typical funder in the sense that a cultural organization just applies to the Mass Cultural Council
Right.
and gets or doesn't get the money. But because we are a state agency, because we're a public service, we are actually very eager to help other organizations, not just by granting them if they qualify, but actually helping them be more competitive at granting.
Right.
So it's training them to be better arts organizations, and that's what we do.
Right, rather than become stagnant, put in the
Exactly.
same amount of money every year, do the same thing, and then
Exactly.
are you really appealing to the
And
community?
there are various different layers in which the Mass Cultural Council can help that kind of progress growth. The first one is your local cultural council.
And the council itself is a tremendous council, and we were able to increase the funding to the Massachusetts Cultural Council this year, and that's because we know it has.
Every year that gets cut.
I know, this year
Then all of a
we-
sudden, I get bombarded by emails, call your state rep, call your state senator. I'm like,
We did. We increased that, and we know the valuable impact that it
Yeah.
does have on all the communities across the Commonwealth.
And we are very much aware of it, and it's the fact that we had that increase this year has allowed us to increase our granting, to increase the number of programs that are benefiting directly from the Mass Cultural Council, and it allows us to go deeper and further in trying to get more programs to know about this. And of course, we will raise more advocacy for the work because we know that it does, that it is effective, that it does something for the community, and the community sees themselves in it. So
We have an art show at City Hall for any school, any Leominster school, any student that's from Leominster to come and display their art. And we work with the art teachers and the schools. And it's just such a proud moment for them to display their art. I think we're more impressed. Like, you did that? And I'm like, yeah. Then sometimes they are. But it's because they're modest. But it's really encouraging for them. And for some kids that are just starting out, it's like, I just somehow or another I found this through probably a couple of the examples that you gave. And this is their chance to, it's therapeutic for them. But it's also something they've learned to enjoy, and then they get positive reinforcement from people. And some have gone off to college to take art, and others are teachers, and so it really is a.
And it helps build off of the successes. So you have micro successes, and you have little, and that builds into something else, and that builds into something
Right.
else. And it's applicable with art. It's applicable with education. A woman I know, she's 72. She just graduated from Fitchburg State.
Wow, how
And
cool.
it's just like, wow,
Yeah.
you're actually going out and doing this. And
I bet that was her passion.
Well,
It turned into
it turned into it, definitely. So it's being able to have people, stakeholders, believe in these things and being able to advocate for others and having the space to be able to talk to volunteers and like, hey, we might need you to get some additional education. Like with FAVE, do you guys have volunteers that come in and help you in your offices?
Oh, sure.
So
Oh, yeah,
they have,
absolutely.
there's probably a learning process within that. And I know with the YWCA there is, and I know when I worked with the Y, you learned so much. It's just like, oh, okay, veil is off. But these are beautiful things because what people have, they bring to these various organizations and they increase their knowledge base. And that's education right there.
What's really fun, if you're just watching, my name's Dean Mazzarella, Mayor for the City of Leominster. I have a great panel here, all kinds of expertise here, and a good sort of diverse group of people here from all aspects of different professions and organizations. And we're talking about arts and the impact that it has. It's sort of that one thing that has, art, and then underneath it, a million other words to go along with it, right? Because it has so many good uses. But one thing I'm encouraged by is art is really, it's so many things today. From painting skateboards, from Jen that paints her skateboards, to people that do rocks, to
Sand sculpture.
Sand sculpture.
But you don't all, not
I love
all
it.
forms of empowerment are human. Some are organizational.
Right.
Like at my church right now, we're the First Parish Church sits right at the head of the Upper Common in Fitchburg. It's right in the middle of what hopes to become an arts overlay district. Now, First Parish Church, like a lot of churches in the country, suffers from attendance problems and infrastructure problems. And like the building is a huge monkey on your back.
Yeah.
But
So you can't do all the things you want in the community
It's-
because you got to keep the building together.
Well, and that becomes you have to find that way of
Right.
walking that whole line. And so what we've done is we have taken the building and turned it into a year-round art gallery. So we last month we exhibited one artist, Kevin McCarthy, who has been.
yeah.
We did.
I missed that.
We did an exhibit called Kevin
Now I feel
McCarthy,
bad. Kevin's the
100
best.
Works. But that was an empowerment for an individual because we gave him this huge art exhibit, and we had the mayor of Fitchburg come and speak,
Oh,
and
I can't believe I
at a
missed
nice
it.
big reception. And we exhibited 100 of his works throughout the entire building. And so not only did that empower him as an individual and as an artist, but it also empowered the building and the organization itself. Because there's so many of our community service organizations, and the church is just one of those on the list, that suffers from a demoralized attitude because it's just tough to be that type of organization in the world.
Kevin is incredible.
Yes, he
There's
is. You
just
gave him an
about-
award once, actually.
There is nothing that man can't do. He does. Is it needlepoint?
Embroidery,
We're
watercolor,
talking
photography,
hours.
sculpture,
The work that he does.
painting, yeah.
I'm always amazed and then he changes his style
and everything,
I'm like,
yeah.
Kevin did that? Like, I should have known.
And none of the work looked like it was all done by the same person.
No,
But
he's,
see, that
and he's
just
a nice person.
witnessing
he's a nice
that,
guy.
not only was it empowering for him, but witnessing his show, other people are empowered by that.
Yeah.
And the organization gets empowered by that. And the arts district gets
Right.
empowered by that. And so, this thing has a ripple
Far-reaching
effect.
implications.
A ripple
in it.
effect.
Yeah.
I have to do a few commercials. You're going to keep me in touch with the time?
We got 11 minutes.
11 minutes. The Montchusett Chorale will be hosting their holiday concert on Sunday, December 2nd, early this year, at 2 p.m. at the Tater Auditorium. And the concert will benefit Karen's Closet of Leominster. Karen's Closet just had their annual road and walk race, and they supply all the schools with a little bit of a closet in case a kid comes in and needs a change of clothes, or things maybe not so great at home and can't afford to buy the kids. You know, everybody goes through that cycle. And if you live long enough, you'll have a difficult financial cycle somewhere in your lifetime, right? So just get ready. And anyway, so the tickets are $12 in advance, and you can get them at the mayor's office, and they're $15 at the door. But really, you know, they do a great job, and they start rehearsals in sometime in June or something. You know, as soon as they get through one, they start the other. So anyway, that's at City Hall. The Drake House Holiday Festival. We're doing something different this year. This is, as I think most know, Frances Drake was an abolitionist, and this is this is her home. That's on Franklin Street, and this is one of the homes of the Underground Tunnel, Underground Railroad. It is fully restored on the outside. Wow. Fully. I mean, right down to the wood shake roofs. Now we're going to start working on the inside. But anyway, coming up on Saturday, December 8th, you can visit the historic Drake House, a stop on the Underground Railroad, site of one of the most important fugitive slave rescues ever. There's going to be a house and exhibit tours. I'm going to roast chestnuts, holiday wreaths and greenery on sale to benefit the Mayor's Energy Fund, free hot chocolate, cookies and more, and coffee, free copies of the book Resolve and Rescue, the true story of Frances Drake and the anti-slavery movement, to the first 10 students who visit with an essay on abolition and the Underground Railroad. So that's coming up 1 to 4 on December 8th. And Mark Bonanza's putting this together. I think he texted me at must have been 11:30 at night. I got this idea. I'm like, okay, what's the date? He said, December 1st. I said, that's the date of the stroll. I said, he goes, how about the next week? I said, sure, let's do it. So anyway, this sounds like a lot of fun. Sponsored by Leominster Historical Society, the Mayor's Office, the Office of Emergency Management, and a special thank you to Garden the Spot for their donation. Imagine we went from pumpkins to wreaths now, all in one day. And Thanksgiving and Christmas sign-ups, applications are going to be taken. This is for the Salvation Army. The following information will be required. So they do have, you can get this from our office. But anyway, this is a Thanksgiving and Christmas sign-up application, and you can get it from 9 to 4 and at the Salvation Army. So anyway, all of these days in Tuesdays in November, you can sign up, as well as the beginning part of December. There's a Leominster Veterans bench dedication. A lady had asked, why isn't there a bench outside the back of the library? And the Veterans Department stepped up, and they're going to be making a dedication this, is it the 4th this Sunday already? Mm-hmm. It is. Yeah. Sunday at 2 o'clock, 2 to 4 o'clock, featuring a performance by the International Veterans Chorus. Life Care Center of Leominster, Life Care Center of Leominster puts on this big breakfast. I've never seen so much food in my life, and they do it at the Veterans Center. It's for all veterans, Wednesday, November 14th, 8:30 to 10 o'clock. The breakfast is free and open to all veterans and first responders. I've never seen so much food, but you need to RSVP to the Veterans Office, 978-534-7538 by November 7th. Nobody will call until November 6th.
Of course.
It's just life. It's like grants, right? Like grants. You put a date on it, and it's November 8th. And on November 8th, right, by noon, every city in town is sitting out in the lobby, up in the elevator, trying to find a parking spot to get the grant in.
I did my MCC grant on the 15th at 4:30. For
stars, right? Yeah. That's
deadline day.
This year's Veterans Day events and ceremonies. Mike Cooley over at Monument Tap, he brings in the Singing Trooper every year, Salute to America. That's on the 4th, I guess, so this Sunday as well at 1 o'clock. Sunday, again, is the Veterans Bench dedication. On Monday the 5th at St. Leo's, they put on a mass with Bishop McManus, reception to follow. That's this Monday. I didn't think it was on my schedule. I'll have to check. At 9:30 at 120 Main Street. Then on Wednesday, every year St. Anna's does a school, their school puts on a Veterans Day program at 1:30 at the school. And then on Sunday is Veterans Day, when we have all of the, the regular sort of ceremony, laying in the wreath, and then ceremonies at City Hall. Then again on Wednesday is the breakfast. On Friday is the Veterans Luncheon in Sterling Senior Center on Money Point Road, because our Veterans Office also provides services to Lancaster and Sterling, I believe. So this is one in Sterling. Then on Sunday, if you think you should be writing some of this down, Sunday the 18th is Breakfast of the Bands. So Thanksgiving must be early this year. Don't know, because haven't looked that far.
It is, yeah.
I think it's 22nd.
Is it?
Yeah,
Oh, that's early.
The
Then.
first is the Thursday, so the fourth Thursday comes a little earlier than normal.
And the Beacon of Hope tomorrow night. I'm not sure you can still get tickets, but tomorrow night is the Beacon of Hope Community Service, Harvest, Dinner, Dance, Fall, FOMO, celebrating 31 years. And if you can't go and you'd like to make a donation, we've had Vicki on here a number of times to talk about what the Beacon of Hope does. That's a wonderful organization, and they would appreciate your donation. You can call our office to get that information, because I know there's no way you're going to remember it. So if you were veterans, if you served in the military during peacetime, and we are presenting on Veterans Day the Peacetime Service Medal. So please call our office or call the Veterans Office and let them know as soon as possible, so we know you're coming. But that's all going to happen at 10 o'clock on November 11th. Festival of Trees starts November 19th. Everything's early this year. 19th, Small Business Saturdays, November 24th. The Winter Stroll is December 1st from 3 to 6. Pick up those leaves. We're picking them up until the end of November. You like raking leaves?
No.
No? You know what I like?
I have children for that.
Who likes raking leaves?
I like, you know what? I don't mind raking. What I really like is when they get crunchy and dry and you get to walk on them or jump on them.
Yeah.
And that smell, that smell, is that some sort of an art? That smell, I love that
That's
smell.
smoky.
Yeah.
That kind of, there's a special smell about,
Yeah, it's a good
about that.
smell.
What's up, Kyle? He's the minute accountant.
2 minutes.
And let's see, Shoreland Farms is still open 10 to 5 every day. Get those apples picked up. Tomorrow's the last day for early voting. And let's see, English classes Tuesdays and Thursdays, citizenship classes Thursdays at 6 p.m., Friday at 9 at Catholic Charities. Give them a call, 508-860-2234. There's like a huge demand for other languages. There's like a waiting list to get on. I didn't realize it really gone up there so much. Anyway, we have a new business in town. Like you, but H-U-E, can paint. It's an art studio on the top floor of the Gallagher building. It's in our incubator center. She's one of our new businesses. She has all kinds of art classes for students, independent study, advanced art, intermediate. Explore your creative side. Just give her a buzz, 978-549-7315. She'll go out, she'll do parties, whatever.
Mayor, and also, could you pull out those presentations, sir? I don't think we have enough time to read the presentations, but we have two wonderful presentations we want to present to.
Don't move. We can do this. Go ahead.
So we have one here from the State Senate citation. It actually says that the Commonwealth of Massachusetts State Senate official citation being known that the Massachusetts Senate hereby extends its congratulations to Kanisha Coy, My Care Initiative, in recognition of your dedicated effort in initiating and promoting the first annual GOE, which is Growth, Overcome, and Empower Day, and be it known the Massachusetts Senate extends its best wishes for continued success, signed by the Senate President and myself, your Senator. You think this is beautiful? Wait until you see the next one.
Wow.
The next one is incredible. It's a proclamation from the governor and lieutenant governor.
I never
It's
got
right
one
here.
of those.
And you know what, Mayor? I'm going to give you the honor to look at this, read whatever you want, because it's a long proclamation.
Wow.
And then you can present it to
Pretty good.
Kanisha.
Well, I won't read it because we're almost out of time, right?
Yeah, about 20 seconds.
Well, Kyle's got science problems. Him and I, both. You're apparently not doing your flushing. We're both under instructions. Anyway, I don't have time to read it, but this is a beautiful proclamation. I never got one from the governor or the lieutenant governor or Francis Galvin, but anyway, it says a bunch of nice things about you that make you blush and feel all like self-conscious. So congratulations, we'll give it to you after. But thank you everybody for coming on. This is great. I want to get you on a couple times because we got to make progress, right? And we got to evaluate and measure ourselves and see how we're doing and see how we can help each other in our communities do more of this, because this is fun stuff. This is good. Anyway, Go vote. I did early vote. Go vote. Your vote matters. Trust me. Nobody can bother you in there. You don't have to listen to anybody. You go into the polls and you vote for who you want to vote for.
Yep.
And you don't have to tell anybody, right? You just tell them, mind your own business. I'm in the booth. I'm voting for who I want. So take a walk. Anyway, we're out of time here at Inside Leominster. I want to thank you for watching the show. Thank you for the whole crew that comes in here every Thursday night, no matter what the weather is, for high salary. Anyway, good night. God bless you. Remember, the world is run by those who show up. Thanks for showing up. Good night.